So today I'm here to talk about how we're all going to be living in an AI future, and I'm excited to hear from my co-panelist as well. It's a great team of concepts and ideas we have together. A few things to know about me before we start. I'm a storyteller, and I believe stories are best when shared. And because I'm a technologist, I tend to read science fiction. I'm also a researcher and a trend scout for EY. What that means is I'm tasked to go and what the implications are, not only for EY, but for the enterprise as a whole. What's really exciting about this is I get to look at a global view. So it's wonderful to be on a call with people from around the world, because I'm both a connector of patterns and people. And how I see it is that trends are just an expression of our collective needs, and technology is a tool to meet those needs, and the stories are how we start to build them and get there. And right now it feels that HAL is an omnipresent AI feature, and there's a little bit of anxiety, and most of us are the poor astronaut in the upper right corner who feel that AI is coming for us any day. The only exception to this may be the data scientist who, after many, many years of being left in a dark closet or corner, are celebrating their moment in the sun. And this anxiety is well founded, as there's a long precedent of artificial intelligence just going wrong, whether it's Terminator, where the AI we create wipes out humanity as a whole, or Microsoft's Tay, which just in 24 hours became a licentious entity on its own. But being an optimist, I'm always looking for how can we make it go right? We're in an incredible moment in history where really the only limits of technology are our imagination. And hence that's one of the reasons I look to stories and to science fiction to help us imagine where we're going to go. So today I'd like to go over 3 idealized scenarios with artificial intelligence. Any of these could happen, all of them could happen at once. The first is the helper, second is the improver, and finally is the Governator, a kinder alternative to the Terminator. Think Schwarzenegger as a politician more than an actual robot. So first I'd want to go with Her. This is a great movie, and I'm sure many of you out there have seen it. Please tweet at me your favorite moments. I can talk about this movie ad nauseum. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's a great story about how Joaquin Phoenix falls in love with the disembodied voice of Scarlett Johansson. And this came out about a year after Siri in the iPhone and a year before all of our Amazon Alexa. And the power of this helper was so great that Joaquin Phoenix's character could have an entire relationship with her. He became his constant companion, closer than any loved one. So what we can learn from the helper, what the implications are for work is, a lot of our technology is going to be human assisted. We still want someone to interact with, whether we are responsible for the machines and the machines are responsible for us. It's a collaborative relationship. And if we think things are going fast today, that speed is only going to get greater. When you have a massive machine out there who can help you do most of the rote tasks, you're going to be asked to move faster than ever before. However, the counterbalance to this is going to be a creativity premium, where because so much of what we already know can be done by a machine, can be done by our helpers, we really have to push the boundary of what's possible and what's probable and take more time offline, uninterrupted, to really allow our creativity to flourish. The next model is the what I like to call the improver. So here, this is a great movie called Advantageous. And Advantageous, a woman similar to many of us today, undergoes a radical procedure to have her consciousness downloaded into a new, younger, better body to get the edge on at work and to continue her lifespan. What we find out over the course of the movie is that it's too strenuous for her legacy body, and that body she was in dies while the new one takes over. And ultimately she does this for her daughter, to give her daughter a chance at a better life. And the improver implications for work is that a lot of the systems we see, the legacy systems, are going to be eliminated. They'll no longer stand, they'll no longer be able to keep up. We're already starting to see this in the way that we process things today, where technology firms are taking over from banks and they're all AI driven. I've been following the growth of the insurtech space, where we see AI now improving and going beyond what we've been able to do before. However, there's going to be imposed limitations. Right now, no one imagines ways to process the amount of data. They're working on it. But just like in advantageous, where the old body can't exist in the new body because the process overwhelms it, we'll see that as well. And finally, this is huge. I talk a lot about data wells as a trend, but the data three Ps, which is permission. Are we allowed to use it? Purpose, to what end are we going to use it? And persuasion, i.e. getting people to sign over their data. There's a great scene in the movie where the protagonist has to spend 6 hours signing a contract because she's the first one to use a new procedure. And as many of us know, when we opt into the T&Cs on our Apple, we just blindly will accept it. And now in the future, those 3 Ps are going to be even more because of what we're asking for permission to use, both with volunteering and providing to companies. And finally, the Governator. So I'm here to tell you a short story about Lucas. Lucas pictured here fishing. Now, Lucas lives in Montana, and he gets tapped to be the assistant to the West Region Governator. This is an AI that's been programmed with 150 years of legal precedent, regulatory precedent, and all other governance decision. Lucas and the Governator work hand in hand with one another to come up with the laws governing both a human and a machine society, whether that's embodied AI or disembodied AI. And now Lucas, all he wants to do is a simple life at home in nature, and finds himself thrust in a very precarious and challenging position of now deciding the fate of his whole region, a politician, a reluctant one. So what's the implication for the Governator? There's a lot coming online with the new challenges of tech and the new challenges of AI that require regulatory governance. While we don't have precedents right now in our human history, there's a lot of precedents set in science fiction to think about how human and machines coexist and what happens as our tools and technology change. And what that does require is define human roles and define human responsibilities for making sure our tech doesn't go offline, or that we have to suddenly shut down everything in how. Because as we saw in Her, ultimately we get left behind by our technology, but really making sure there's a human component design, make sure that we keep up with it. And overall, there's a broader ethics, what I term moral frameworks, which is how are we going to govern ourselves now that technology makes some of our decisions? To what extent can we trust the machine, and to what extent do we need to police it? And here, I'm really excited for the future. Like I said, I think AI is going to revolutionize so many parts of what we do, and also force us to be more self-reflective about ourselves. So thank you.